Welcome to the only guide you will need to visit the city of Istanbul. I'll show you everything, from how to get here from its two airports, how to use the public transport system and the ferries, which attractions are actually worth the money, the best places to eat and drink, and how to have the best time of your life in the city that spans two continents. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Istanbul. It's one of the most important cities in the world, as it's the only city that sits across two continents. It's packed with layers of history that you won't find anywhere else. But Istanbul is massive. It's busy, chaotic, and confusing if you don't know what you're doing. My guide will prepare you so that by the time you arrive, you'll know exactly what to do and what to expect. So, let me show you a map. Istanbul is enormous, but most of what you're looking for is in the historic peninsula, which is this section right here. This is where the majority of the world-famous attractions are located, and this is where I strongly recommend that you focus your time. Now, take a look at this blue line here. This is historic tramline number 1, and along its route contains most of the attractions you're looking for. So, stay within a spitting distance from one of its stops, and your trip should be fairly straightforward. Ideally, you want to split up your trip into the following sections: the famous bit, the interesting bit, the bit across the bridge, and Asia. I'll walk you through all of these sections in a logical order, and I'll also explain getting to and from the airport and how to use the public transport towards the end of the video. This is an insanely big city, and you will need public transport. The system is excellent, but only if you understand exactly how it works. Let's start with the most famous and important building in Istanbul, the world-famous Hagia Sophia. The Hagia Sophia is one of the most significant structures ever built by human beings. It was constructed in the 6th century as a Byzantine cathedral, converted into a mosque after the Ottoman conquest, and still exists as a mosque today. From the outside, it's impressive even though it's under reconstruction. I'd advise that you book tickets in advance, or wait in the queue to buy one from the ticket office. From the inside, it's absolutely staggering. The interior feels almost unreal, and the way ancient Christian mosaics coexist with massive Islamic calligraphy panels is completely unique to anywhere else in the world. As a tourist, you're no longer able to enter the main prayer hall. Instead, visitors access the upper gallery, which still provides excellent views down into the interior. Now, the elephant in the room is that it's currently under massive reconstruction. So technically, you've just paid money to see the world's largest scaffolding site. But it's still pretty impressive, especially the interior decorations and mosaics that have survived for over 1400 years. As with all mosques, there's a strict dress code. Shoulders and knees must be covered, and women must cover their hair. Scarves are usually provided at the entrance if you don't have one. But if you have a problem paying to go inside a mosque, our next attraction is completely free and directly opposite the Hagia Sophia. Officially called the Sultanahmet Mosque, it's known more famously as the Blue Mosque. This is Istanbul's most elegant mosque. Inside, more than 20,000 hand-painted Iznik tiles give the interior its distinctive blue colour, which looks more like a shade of green to me, but what do I know? It's beautifully decorated inside, but bear in mind that this is still an active mosque. You must plan your visits around prayer times, and you're only allowed in this rather cramped tourist section. For Muslims praying, they get the rest of the space, which is why one side seems incredibly busy and one side doesn't. Again, entry is free, but modest dress is required, and no shoes allowed. And if you want to say hi to Sultan Ahmed yourself, you can. He's buried right outside if you want to pay your respects. Once you're outside, you'll find yourself in Sultanahmet Square, and there's a few important historic sculptures on display. You can see the walled obelisk, the obelisk of Theodosius with its Egyptian hieroglyphs, the serpent's column, which looks like it's been snapped into pieces, and the German fountain, which doesn't look at all that German. It's essentially an open-air museum that you can walk through in about 10 minutes, and I highly recommend that you do. The other large attraction is on the other side of the Hagia Sophia. This is Topkapi Palace, the former residence of the Ottoman Sultans. It's a huge complex, made up of multiple courtyards, gardens, pavilions and museums overlooking the Bosphorus. Highlights include the harem apartments, you can really see how they used to live back in the day, the Imperial Hall, where the sultans frequent, the treasury, filled with holy relics such as the bits of the Prophet Muhammad, like his beard hair and his personal possessions, and the hand bone and skull of John the Baptist. Interesting. Some of this stuff you question its provenance, but it's fascinating and very atmospheric as you're walking around. Because it's a palace, it's got a lot of buildings to explore, and there's plenty to see and experience, including amazing views of the Bosphorus, even if it's rainy and overcast like it is today. It's also very large and very busy, so allow several hours and don't try and rush it. I left after about 3 hours and I still hadn't seen everything. So if you are coming to Topkapi Palace, be ready to spend some serious time in here. Just around the corner is the Basilica Cistern. This is the longest Roman water supply line in the world and one of the most atmospheric attractions in the city. It's a vast underground water reservoir supported by hundreds of columns. It's cool, dimly lit and very picturesque. There are always quirky statues on display, and the photo opportunities here are endless. At the far end, you'll find the famous carved heads of Medusa. Don't look at her, guys, she'll turn you to stone. But it can get horribly crowded, so if I were you, come at a quiet time to experience this place at its best. An alternative around the corner is the Şerefiye Cistern, a much smaller version than the Basilica Cistern. Usually, they have a light show that illuminates the columns with moving lights and music, but when I visited, they'd switched them all off, which is just my bad luck. So it was pretty boring and not worth the money. If you've already been to the Basilica Cistern, don't bother with this one. That was the best bits of Istanbul, and all of these attractions are within a short 5-10 minute walk away from each other. Now let's look at some of the interesting bits, and from here walk downhill towards the biggest marketplace in the city. The Grand Bazaar. This is one of the oldest and largest covered markets in the world, with thousands of shops selling jewellery, carpets, gold, souvenirs, spices and a lot of counterfeit merchandise. It's chaotic and it's intense, and you will get lost in here because it's an absolute labyrinth. If you are thinking of buying something, haggling is expected, and you should never accept the first price you're offered. Try and get them down to about 50 to 60% of what they're initially asking for. Across the road is Food Street, a whole area where you can try Turkish kebabs, börek, kofte, and if you're really boring, they even have a Burger King just in case. Walk north and you'll come across Eminonu, a bustling hive of activity. The key features here include the new mosque, which is very similar to the Blue Mosque, beautifully decorated, and it's certainly a lot quieter, so this is worth a look. And next door to that, you've got the famous Spice Bazaar. This is smaller, easier to navigate, and far more enjoyable than the Grand Bazaar in my opinion. This is the best place to buy Turkish delight, spices, saffron, teas, nuts, and anything edible. Even if you don't buy anything, it's worth visiting just for the sights, the smells, and the atmosphere. But admittedly, the best place to buy stuff isn't at the Grand Bazaar or the Spice Bazaar. It's actually on the narrow side streets in between the two. This is where the locals shop, and unlike the tourist inflated prices of the other two bazaars, the prices here are a lot friendlier. I mean, where else can you find a Louis Vuitton bag for 200 Turkish lira? That's about £3.30. So it's definitely worth exploring at these prices. At this point, you're probably getting hungry, which is perfect because Istanbul is one of the greatest food cities in the world. you must try kebabs in all forms, especially doner. Simit is the perfect snack on the go and is sold everywhere. For desserts, baklava cakes and künefe are available everywhere and are worth trying. Oh, and try the Turkish coffee at least once. This is where powdered coffee is brewed in hot sand like this. It's strong, thick, very similar to a double shot of espresso, and ooh, that's a kick up the backside. Definitely not for beginners or the faint-hearted. But if you're a coffee lover, you'll love these. Around here, there's two other famous mosques, the Süleymaniye Mosque and the Fatih Mosque. Admittedly, if you're bored of mosques already, you could probably avoid these two. They're both impressive, very grand inside, and very similar to each other. Perfect for a prayer in the middle of a busy city. The Süleymaniye Mosque also has its famous cemetery, and you can even say hi to the man who the mosque is named after, Süleyman Han, and his entire family, as they're all buried here. In between both mosques, you'll find the Valens Aqueduct, the remains of a Roman-era water aqueduct that's still standing today. Nowadays, it's mainly a traffic thoroughfare. And if you have time, check out the colourful neighbourhoods of Balat and Fener. These are very colourful neighbourhoods with colourful houses and colourful decorations. And the food prices here are super cheap compared to the more tourist areas that we've already been to so far. Apologies for my grey skies footage, it was rainy when I went. That covers everything in the interesting section of Istanbul. But for the bit across the bridge, I strongly urge you to take the metro or the funicular railway line to Taksim Square and start here, as this section of the city is on a giant hill, and it's easier to explore and walk downhill than it is to climb uphill. Taksim Square itself is a modern square full of hotels, food outlets, a mosque which you can go into if you want, and signs reminding you who the champions are. It's a major transport hub, so if you stay anywhere around here, you can get around Istanbul fairly quickly. From here, follow this red line. This is Istiklal Avenue, one of the longest shopping streets in the city, and it looks no different to any other major Western shopping street where you can buy merchandise, Turkish food items. Hafiz Mustafa is probably the most famous one here and sells all sorts of weird and wonderful treats. Try Turkish coffee if you haven't already, or eat at one of its many picturesque side streets. On this street, you'll also find St. Anthony of Padua's church, the Catholic cathedral of the city. Really colourful inside, and perfect if you want to pray or find Jesus. Oh, here he is. Worth a look given that it's free. And if you can't be bothered walking uphill, take the historic tram right in the middle of the road instead. But when you get towards the bottom of the street, you'll notice this ancient tower. This is Galata Tower. Built in the 1400s, this is one of the best viewpoints in the city. Once you've paid for your ticket and enjoyed the queues to get into the lift, you'll get panoramic views over the Golden Horn, the Bosphorus, and both the European and Asian sides of Istanbul. The indoor observation deck is cool, but it's the outdoor deck that's the best bit. However, it's incredibly tight up here and hard to take photos and videos, so bear this in mind. You also don't get the lift back down. You have to walk the massive spiral staircase to reach the ground floor, and it can be painfully slow, so be prepared for that. From here, you can walk back across the river on the Galata Bridge. It's a two-tier commuter bridge with excellent views over the Golden Horn. The top section seems to be incredibly popular with fishermen, there's hundreds of them here, and the lower section is filled with restaurants and a great place to try street food, so you won't go hungry here. If you head north of the bridge, you'll come across the other two famous palaces in the European side of the city. The first is Dolmabahce Palace. Unlike Topkapi Palace, which is quite old, Dolmabahce Palace, built in the 19th century, blends traditional Ottoman design with lavish Baroque and neoclassical decor. The highlights of this place include the crystal staircase, very similar to the one in Buckingham Palace, very pretty, great for social media snaps, the many crystal chandeliers, the gold leaf painted everything, the grand ceremonial hall with the largest chandelier in the world. It's all very royal, very opulent, and it comes with gorgeous gardens and amazing views over the water towards the Asian side. It's definitely worth the special trip to see this place if you're into royal history or you just want to be jealous of all these rich people. The third palace, Yildiz Palace, a few streets away from Dolmabahce, is a much quieter, more secluded royal complex surrounded by lush gardens. This was the residence of Sultan Abdülhamid II, who preferred privacy over pomp. Today, it feels more intimate and very atmospheric, especially the gardens, which provides a peaceful escape from the city. And it's a fascinating contrast to Dolmabahce's sheer extravagance. Now, I actually like this one, but if you've been to Dolmabahce already, there's no real need to come here. So that completes everything on the European side of Istanbul. But to get to the Asian side, you'll need to go into one of the ferry terminals located on the map and tap in at the relevant boat depending on where you want to go. It's one of the simplest but most magical experiences in Istanbul, because in just 20 minutes you'll glide between continents. It's cheap, scenic, and it gives you one of the best views of the city in air-conditioned or heated comfort. But in between both continents, you'll find this thing in the middle of the water, the Maiden's Tower. Just off the coast of Uskudar, the Maiden's Tower is one of Istanbul's most iconic and mysterious landmarks. Over the centuries, it served as a lighthouse, a watchtower, and even a quarantine station. A short boat ride takes you out to the tower itself. But if I'm being honest, it's pretty bare bones inside, and the view is no different to the ferry. So up to you if you want to explore this place. Once you're on the Asian side, admittedly it's very modern, and there's various parts of it that look no different to Liverpool, Philadelphia, Manchester or Madrid. And there's definitely a lot less to do. So if you're in a rush, you could probably skip the entire Asian side and not miss all that much. Some of the highlights here include Beylerbeyi Palace. This elegant summer residence was designed to host foreign dignitaries, and its lighter, breezier interiors reflect that purpose. Less crowded than Dolmabahce, it offers stunning waterfront views and a calmer glimpse into Ottoman royal life. The area of Uskudar feels a lot more local, more lived in, and deeply traditional. Kadikoy is youthful, modern, and buzzing with energy. It feels more like a European city, and I can see why the younger residents prefer it here. When I arrived, the entire Turkish police force was out taking care of some protesters, so that wasn't fun to be in. But there's one thing that Kadikoy is famous for: Fenerbahce Football Club. Football in Istanbul isn't just sport, it's identity. Fenerbahce ruled the Asian side, whilst their arch rivals, Besiktas and Galatasaray, are on the European side. Each club has a fiercely loyal fan base, iconic stadiums, and rivalries that divide the city on match days. Even if you don't catch a game, you'll feel their presence everywhere, in scarves, chants, and conversations on every corner. If you get a chance, go to a match or partake in one of their stadium tours. I'll make videos about those if anyone's interested, but unless I get overwhelming demand, it'll probably stay under wraps. As the evening approaches, the city changes completely, temperatures drop, restaurants fill up, and walking around the city is an atmospheric assault on the mind and senses, and you've not lived until you've explored this city at night. Overall, Istanbul is a city you need to visit at least once in your life. Definitely add this to your ultimate bucket list. Okay Nin, I'm sold. What do I need to do? Well, you need to come here to Istanbul. It's served by two major airports: Istanbul Airport on the European side and Sabiha Gokcen Airport on the Asian side. Istanbul Airport is the main international hub that you'll probably fly into, and the most reliable way to get into the city is via the metro system. Follow the signs to the metro station and take line M11 to Gayrettepe. you can transfer to another metro to get to where you want to go, usually line M2 to Taksim Square or the historic peninsula. Alternatively, use the official Havaist airport buses, which you can take just outside the terminal. Pick the correct bus for your end destination, and it takes about 90 minutes, virtually the same amount of time as the metro, as Istanbul International is quite some distance away from the main city centre. Taxis are available, but traffic can be horrific, and you'll be paying for that, so please bear this in mind. If you're arriving at Sabiha Gokcen, again, either pick the correct bus for your end destination outside the terminal, or use metro line M4 towards Kadikoy, and then get a ferry to whichever part of the city you need. To use the public transport system, you'll need an Istanbul card, and there are two versions. The first is the standard red card. It's a reloadable public transport card that works on metros, trams, buses, ferries and funiculars. You can buy one from any of the ticket machines at metro stations or transit stops. You have to purchase the red card first and then top it up with credit. I'd add 500 Turkish lira to start and top it up if needed. It's the cheapest version of the two cards, but you need to keep an eye on your balance, which can be difficult at times. The alternative is to find a machine that dispenses an Istanbul City card. This is a prepaid blue card that gives you unlimited travel for the number of days that you buy it for. It's way more expensive than the standard red card, it averages about £9 a day, but it gives you peace of mind knowing that you'll never run out of credit. With either card, to use it, simply walk to a turnstile, press the card against the turnstile, walk through and away you go. It's that simple. You don't need to tap out on any exits, and you can follow a similar procedure at tram stops and buses. And the transport system itself is no different to what you're already used to. If it wasn't for the Turkish words, you'll think that you're using the London Underground, as the signs are identical and easy to figure out. All the signage is in both Turkish and English, so if you're an English speaker, you'll be absolutely fine here. The only part that's a little bit complicated is using the ferries. At any ferry terminal, before you tap in, you must find the boat that goes to your destination. The destination and the time it departs will be written in red, and only at that gate do you tap in. If you go into the wrong gate, you'll end up on the wrong boat and it'll take you to the wrong destination. So make sure you're in the right place before you tap in and enter the turnstiles. The cost? Sadly, Turkey is not the cheap holiday destination that it was 4 years ago, when I was last here making my travel guide to Antalya. Due to inflation, a weak economy and rising prices, Istanbul is actually now more expensive than London. And furthermore, as a tourist, you'll be paying the tourist price for attractions, which can be 1000% more expensive than what the locals pay. Sadly, this is unavoidable, and if you're coming to Istanbul, bring plenty of money and have at least 2 credit cards ready. If you're trying to save money seeing attractions, consider buying the museum pass and taking advantage of the multi-site deals that are advertised at attractions. If you're looking for a place to stay, I'd recommend staying somewhere within throwing distance of Tram Line 1 or Metro Line 2, particularly around the Blue Mosque or Taksim Square, as it's fairly easy to get around the city from these places. I stayed near the Blue Mosque and it was walking distance to most of the interesting stuff that a typical tourist would want to see. Is there anything else I need to know? Yes. Istanbul is hilly, busy and chaotic. Wear comfortable shoes and expect crowds and long queues that go down the street, especially around major attractions. It will take you a while to walk or travel anywhere, so always allow extra time when moving around the city. Pickpocketing is a problem, particularly on public transport and in crowded tourist areas, so keep an eye on your belongings. Summers are hot and humid. Winters can be cold and wet just like it is right now. I'd strongly advise that you pack for all weather conditions just in case. As mentioned earlier, You are required to dress modestly, remove your shoes, and wear a headscarf if you're female before entering any mosque. The currency here is the Turkish lira. Cash is still widely used, although cards are accepted in most, but not all places. The spoken language here is Turkish. Learning basic Turkish phrases helps, but most residents can communicate with you in broken English, so you'll be fine. Have Google Translate handy just in case. The Turkish take security very seriously, so you will be searched, airport style, before going into any major attraction or major building such as shopping centres. Police are also everywhere, so it doesn't pay to misbehave here. Because Istanbul is a massive city with thousands of side streets, you will get lost. Download an offline city map and an offline transport map to your phone before you arrive. This will save your life when you're out here. Also consider buying an international eSIM so that you can access the internet to get you out of trouble if needs be. That covers everything you need to know to have the most amazing time here in Istanbul. If you found this guide useful, please like, share and subscribe. Leave your questions in the comments below. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.